Hey YouTube, I'm excited to show you my first ever CGC unboxing. So I've been waiting for this for a while. I'm super excited. I wanted to do one of those blind reveals where you open it up and you don't know the score. But unfortunately, that's not going to work because when I clicked on my shipping information, I didn't realize it would bring up the scores. So I saw them. So I know what I'm getting, but that's still pretty cool. But I'll make sure not to look now that I know that for the 15 clean and press, quick press ones I sent off. These were ones that I already had pressed, and so I knew what I was getting. So this is my old personal collection for decades, copy of the first appearance of Gambit, debatably. But yeah, Uncanny X-Men 266. I got the special X-Men label on this one. I know a lot of people don't like those. For ones that offer it, for ones I know I'm going to keep, I'm probably going to put them on there. But that's cool. Oh yeah, white pages too. I should throw that in. So I'm going to save that one for last. This next one is Transformers #1. This is a book I've had since I was a child. Kid collector. 9.2 white pages. Yeah, this is the one that I thought like it might have the most variance in grade below. I didn't think any of these were a 9.8 except for one of them. This is a Moon Knight #1. Is for solo series. First Bushman 2. White pages in a 9.6. So again, I've had this book for probably 25-30 years. Probably not the original owner though. This one was my only 9.8, and that's the only one I expected to realistically get 9.8. First Warren Liu cover, Power Girl #27, 9.8 white pages. So it's pretty cool. Very in demand. I was surprised when I started looking at values of comics in my collection. That one stuck out, and I was like, why? I love that run on Power Girl, though. My wife and I both read that. We really liked it. This one is special. This is G.I. Joe #1 from my personal collection. My father gave this to me. It's white pages. It's not a 9.8. I still don't care. It's still cool. It's still going to stay in my collection because it has sentimental value, and it's one of my favorite comics. And I'm surprised I had that good a quality. This book's really, really hard to get in higher grade for some reason. Just copies are just beat up. So that's really cool to get. It's a very special one to me. So that was the unboxing. You'll probably see some thoughts I have after this video. And I'm also going to record, although for you it'll already be up, a preview video of me submitting this and what the grades look like with pictures. So hopefully you can get an idea of what grade I should have expected to get and my prediction, which will be in that video, and I did make before I got these back. So, alright, well, thanks for watching me unbox my very first CGC shipment of graded comics. Super excited to get them back. I can't wait for that next batch. It's going to be a true mystery to me how those ones turn out. Should be some shots at some higher grades, so hopefully we'll get some more 9.8s. These comics, I was totally okay with the comics not getting 9.8s. The exception of Power Girl, I would have been bummed if that was like a 9.6. So I'm glad that came back at 9.8. I would have been over the moon if the other ones got 9.8s, but I didn't expect it to happen. So, no problem. They still mean a lot to me. A couple of them might get sold, but other ones will stick around the personal collection, and that's cool.
All right, so let's recap what we have here. A big part of why I want to do these videos is this is my first experience with CGC. I really want to help people out if they're curious about hey, can I grade a comic? Can I predict what the grade's going to be? Um, is it worth grading certain comics? What kind of mistakes does this guy make so I can avoid them? That's kind of the point of this whole series. I thought it might be interesting for some people because I know I had a lot of these questions when I was getting ready to submit. So first, let's talk about Moon Knight number 1. This is an issue that's been climbing for a while because of casting rumors, because we know he's coming to the MCU in the form of a Disney Plus series, which you assume the Disney Plus stuff is going to be a lot more canon than the Netflix stuff was. And even that stuff, there's rumors it's going to get saved. So I was very accurate on the prediction here, 9.6, dead on. I'd hoped for a 9.8. If you remember all my predictions, I bumped them down 1 grade unless I thought it was already a 9.8. So that means I did think that this could be a 9.8. But I was willing to admit that there was probably some, first-time grader overgrading kind of going on. And I'm glad I bumped it down because that's exactly what happened here. The current value on this comic, as of today, from Go Collect in a 9.6 is $140. All right, so let's talk about Transformers number 1. Transformers number 1 is one of those books from the 80s that's going to do nothing but climb. I have a couple of those in here. People with nostalgia and at the right age now to really go after some of these comics in a high grade are looking for them. This book, it was in my collection for a long time. I think at one point, this is one of the comics in my collection that didn't have a board in it because I just didn't see it as being valuable. Keep in mind, I was like 10, 11, so we're talking about a pretty young age. And yet it still came back as a 9.2. So I would have much rather preferred a higher grade, but I can't complain at all. I just got super lucky. I actually remember thinking about, gosh, is this even a first printing? And I double checked obviously before I submitted it, and it was. I was pretty stoked with the return on this one. It is one of the lesser valuable comics that I got back, but I do think that Transformers has some room to climb, especially if we talk about another movie announcement or a return to the franchise. Uncanny X-Men 266. This is an issue you see on tons of sleeper graded comic lists, books to get in on now. So I think we're starting to see some serious movement on this book. In a 9.8, it's fetching a pretty good price already. I think I want to say it's climbed north of $500, but this came back as a 9.4. Now, I predicted this would be a 9.0. There's a nasty crease on the bottom right-hand corner of this issue. All these comics in this submission, I had cleaned and pressed by a person I found on Instagram, so not CGC. He did a great job on this issue because they definitely cleaned out a lot of the issues, but they're still there. However, I think it saved the grade on this a bit. I think that it bumped it up probably a grade level just by having that press. So presses are definitely worth it if you're going to be moving a grade level by getting a press. Current value on this comic is $160 according to Go Collect. And an important thing to keep in mind here, this is not technically the first appearance of Gambit. However, the market has basically nominated it as the key book for Gambit for the time being, at least. For decades, this was easily considered the first appearance of Gambit. I think that's changed a bit because we now have the internet. We can go back, we can research release dates of comics, and we're aware that Uncanny X-Men Annual 14 came out quite a while before this issue and had him in multiple panels, speaking, being mentioned by name. Obviously, this one has the cover appearance and enter Gambit, and it's definitely the more iconic cover for sure. Just something worth noting. There's a lot of debate whether or not this is actually his first appearance, so something to keep in mind. Power Girl number 27 from the great Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor started run although they were off the title by this point. I love this run on Power Girl. It's one of my favorite longer running solo runs, especially from DC. So, interesting thing about this comic, and I've told the story before, but I'll tell it again real fast. I entered all my comics into the CLZ Collectors app. And this is one of the ones that I was just blown away at the price. So, when I looked at my copy, I realized that I'd kept pretty good care of this issue. This is something that I pulled from my pull list back in the day at my LCS at Things from Another World, actually at their physical store in Beaverton years ago when I lived there. And sure enough, it's a 9.8. And a 9.8 for this, since it's the first cover by artist Warren Liu. And it is also a very low print run. This comic demands a price, as of today, of $240. And finally, last but not least, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, #1. This is a huge key for all 80s collectors. First appearance of Snake Eyes. I think this book is finally getting the respect that it deserves. It was decently valuable in the 80s. It dropped off in the 90s, of course, and the 2000s, and it's finally starting to climb back up. There's been a lot of movement on this. There's been some new movie rumors, and of course there is the new Snake Eyes solo film that's in production or post-production at this point. And then a lot of rumors, too, that we're going to get more G.I. Joe films. There's rumors about Duke being cast, which is G.I. Joe number 22, not this issue. But still, this is first Cobra Commander, first Baroness, first Hawk, some major characters. All your classic first wave of G.I. Joes. And this book meant a lot to me. This was the one that I really was excited to get back from CGC and see where it was at. I did predict a 9.4 on this book. I'm very happy with the 9.6. I can't argue with that. At the current value, according to Go Collect for this, is $240. This book's in a lot of flux, though, and I think that'll change. It'll probably go up and probably go down a little bit, a lot, as we start to see some auctions coming on this book. But this book is not readily available in 9.6, 9.8, especially 9.8. Kids with comics don't generally keep as good of care of them. This one, I don't remember how old I was when my dad gave it to me. I'm guessing I was probably in the neighborhood of 8. So I took care of it, but it's definitely one of those ones that, you can see why a lot of them aren't in great shape. And I just was so happy to get this back in this kind of a grade. So you see all my grades, you see all of what I'm looking at here, and the return on my investment. These 5 comics, as of today, according to Go Collect, are worth $920. This was part of a large submission I did. Technically, this is its own submission. I sent it off at the same time as a 15 comic quick press, clean and press, and then grading. Not a pre-screen, so those will all come back graded, and we'll see what they are. And I'll be doing a preview video on that as well. And then, in addition to that, I sent off an older Uncanny X-Men issue, which I'll do a preview video for that too. So those are their own submissions. This one batch of 5 comics, I sent off 21 comics. This batch of 5 paid for the entire submission process. If I were to sell it, I'm definitely not selling G.I. Joe. I'm probably never going to sell the Uncanny X-Men unless I can go for a grade bump and get a higher grade on it somehow. I may sell the Transformers, the Power Girl, and the Moon Knight. I probably will sell the Moon Knight. I like that character quite a bit, but it's not his first appearance. I don't place as much value on that because of that. And I definitely would rather put that towards other stuff. And then I feel like the Transformers, I love Transformers, but I am not the biggest Transformers fan in the world. I feel like it's one of those ones that I didn't follow the comics as I became an adult. I think the art got very strange. I am checking out that new series they did on Netflix. That doesn't seem too bad, but I'm not like a big Transformers guy anymore. I do like them a lot, and I'm no disrespect to fans, but it's one of those ones I think, hey, I'd rather sell that and get like an X-Men key or something that I care about a little bit more. So thanks for watching. Thanks for following me along in this process of my very first submission. What you'll see next from this channel, I'm going to do other, weekly unboxings and mail calls and stuff like that. But I also want to just reiterate, I have more submission stuff coming. I will do another preview video for the 15 comic quick press submission, and I will do a submission video for the older Uncanny X-Men title that I'm submitting that did not qualify for modern tier, so I had to go on its own submission because it was value tier. Yeah, thanks for following along, guys. I just want to remind you, as always, hey, read comics every day. Thanks for watching.